Did you know that pine cones are female? Happy Mother's Day, YouTube! Actually, it's technically Happy Belated Mother's Day, but I'm recording this on Sunday because I will not be able to make a video tomorrow, which is today, so that I can release this tomorrow today. Anyway, let's just jump right into our first topic today, shall we? And of course, there's really only one thing worth talking about today. Iron Man 2. I went and saw Iron Man 2 on the weekend, and I will say that the first one was definitely better, but Iron Man 2 is definitely pretty good. If you get a chance, I would recommend you go see it. But don't set aside time to go see it, because it's not that good. Now, despite a lot of awesome, there were some issues that I had with Iron Man 2. Probably the main issue that I had with Iron Man 2 is that they didn't even play the song Iron Man. That was like the theme song of the last movie. Why didn't they play it on this movie? It's not Iron Man without Iron Man. They also changed the War Machine guy to a different actor, which I guess is okay because Don Cheadle is a way better actor than, I forget the other guy's name. But still, I mean, that's kind of like a huge continuity flaw. Another thing that I was not happy with is that the villain ended up using an Iron Man suit prototype thing. Really, are there any creative villains out there who are going to not duplicate Iron Man's suit and try to use it against him? When you think about it, Iron Man would probably be able to defeat something that he created. And it really wouldn't be that hard for him, because he came up with the technology that is trying to defeat him. Try and get creative here, villains. That would be the equivalent of attacking a knife fighter with a knife. It doesn't make any sense. And the last issue I had with Iron Man 2 is not really something that you would think is a big deal, but when you sit and think about it, it's actually a pretty big deal. And it's kind of serious for the writer. I was sitting with a bunch of my friends for the Iron Man 2 movie, and for the majority of the time, we were all pretty quiet because the movie was pretty interesting and entertaining. But then there was this moment, and it was quite an interesting moment. There is a point in the movie where Tony Stark is sitting at a desk talking to a woman, and there's this thing on the desk which is doing like all this spinning stuff and really weird, interesting things. Eventually Tony Stark becomes annoyed with it, and it's this little joke, and it's funny, it's ha ha ha. But right up until that joke, from the point Tony Stark entered the room and the camera was on that desk, almost every one of my friends was leaning over to each other and leaning over to me and saying, "Man, look at that little spinny thing. Look at it, that's so cool. I could watch that for days." Think about this for a second. We are in a movie which is supposed to be one of the greatest sequels of all time because it is the Iron Man series, which is an awesome series. And everyone that I'm sitting with gets distracted by a little spinny thing and says that they could watch that forever. They couldn't watch Iron Man forever, but they could definitely watch that spinny thing forever. What does that say about the writers? A spinny toy was more interesting than the entire movie. Wow. But, other than that, it was a really good movie and I really enjoyed it. Let's move on. The next thing I wanted to talk about was YouTube and cell phones. And if you recently signed up for YouTube, you'll probably know what I'm talking about. When I signed up for YouTube, about 3 or 4 years ago, I think. You did not need a cell phone to sign up. You did not need a BlackBerry to sign up. You didn't even need a computer per se. You just needed access to the internet and an email. Both of which I had, plus a computer, so I was good and I signed up. Now when you sign up for YouTube, they want your cell phone number. So if you don't have a cell phone, you can't get a YouTube account. And I really have to wonder, is this preventing a large number of people from signing up for YouTube? Or is this just promoting people to buy cell phones so that they can get a YouTube account? Because I still don't have a cell phone, and so far I have not encountered a situation where I could have used a cell phone for YouTube. I just really don't understand why it is absolutely necessary and a requirement for you to have a cell phone when you sign up for YouTube. Doesn't seem to make any sense to me. Okay, next topic. Yeah. The next thing on the agenda for today is Hitler, and how Maclean's magazine seems to think that the fascist trend is back. I recently picked up a copy of Maclean's magazine the other day, and there was a big giant picture of Hitler on the front, and the title was The Return of Hitler. Now, my first impression is that Maclean's thought Hitler was reincarnated or something, or that he had been in a cryotube for so many years and is now alive again. But then I thought, no, Maclean's is more intelligent than to think that. What Maclean's was actually saying is that there are a couple countries in Europe and Africa and in the Pakistani area that are starting to readopt the fascist style. Not so much the beliefs and the religion of fascism, they are just starting to adopt the style again. There are bumper stickers which say Hitler is cool, t-shirts which have Hitler's face on them, and flags flying around with the Nazi symbol on them. Now, to be completely honest, I can understand that they think the style is kind of cool, because I personally think Hitler had a kind of neat kind of style for his army and country, but I really don't think it's something that we should be glorifying. Because it still represents all the horrible things that went on in World War II and all the beliefs that the fascists had and that they did, and it's just, I don't think it's something we should be glorifying or promoting like that. What do you think? Do you think this should be allowed, or should this people be disciplined? I will post a link to the article of Hitler in the bar, wherever it is, beside me, below me, around me, or above me, and you can go check that out. Anyway, now it's time for everyone's favorite part of the show: support the hater! Today's Support the Hater was going to go to the user who put annotations all over my last video, but I couldn't figure out who that was. So instead, today's Support the Hater goes out to a YouTube user named TheReedy26. TheReedy26 is 51 years old, joined YouTube October 8th, 2009, and lives in the United Kingdom. TheReedy26 left a comment on one of my videos saying, "OMG, this guy is a weirdo." Now, I actually take that as a compliment, to be honest, because I believe that if you are normal, you are actually the weird one. You are trying to fit in with everyone else when fitting in with everyone else is, well, really boring, to be honest. You don't get to do what you want, you just do what everyone else wants. You don't get to be creative, you just get to follow. Essentially, you don't really get to do anything unless everyone else wants to do that thing. And to me, that would be a really suckish and boring life. So please, support this hater, because they need all the help they can get. And now for today's shoutout. Today's shoutout goes out to a YouTube user named MyChemKillers. MyChemKillers was the 10th person to comment on my last video. Congratulations, MyChemKillers. Shoutout to you. Remember, if you'd like a shoutout on one of my videos, just be the 10th person to comment on this video, and I'll be sure to give you a shoutout in the next video. And if you'd really like to comment but don't have anything to say about anything else I've already said in this video, here is a weekly Would You Rather. Would you rather be Iron Man or be War Machine? Anyway, that's all I got to say for today and the rest of this week. I'm Isaac Oley, and thanks for joining me once again on Rant. Happy belated Mother's Day!